women or young girls especially are raised to grow up in patriarchy and really know where to sit in patriarchy, right? Which is usually a position of like servitude to a man or in partnership with a man and as her mode of thriving.
Hi, everyone. This is Raquel.
Hi, and this is Jennifer.
Welcome to Madness Cafe.
This is a feminist podcast where we talk about women's issues, politics, and health and wellness.
And where those issues intersect. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Madness Cafe. Today, our guest is Fanny Tristan. And let me tell you guys a bit about Fanny. Fanny is a trauma therapist and clinical social worker of over 15 years. And she's also the founder of Her Soul Supply, a platform where she helps single Black and brown women stop putting their life on hold for romance. We're going to dig into all of that. Thank you so much for being here, Fanny. Welcome to Madness Cafe.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Awesome.
This topic is it. This is what we've been wanting to talk about. So
yes.
I think we should just jump right in and ask, what does it mean to decenter relationships?
Yes.
Romantic relationships.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You're right.
Yes, exactly. Specifically to romance. And so, I think that women or young girls especially are raised to grow up in patriarchy and really know where to sit in patriarchy, right? Which is usually a position of like servitude to a man or in partnership with a man and as her mode of thriving. And even if we sit here today and you have plenty of women who are like, I don't need a man to manage things in my life the way maybe my mom did or even my grandmother did, we still very much live amongst those standards when it comes to what we value. And they're still very much measurements of progress and happiness. Now that we're at a point where we have a lot of single women who are very independent, very high achieving, are seeking romantic partnership that is aligned with their values, that are aligned with just shared goals and wanting to be treated in a certain way. I think a lot of women are finding that it's hard to find those partners sometimes, and that the advice out there is, well, your standards are too high, or you should settle down. Your clock is ticking, so you don't have the privilege of time to be picky, right? The problem kind of gets turned around on us in that messaging of, well, you're single by choice and you're not going to be happy or feel like you're advancing in your life until you get those things. But the price of entry is going to be your dignity, your freedom, and all of these ways. And there's a whole cultural structure that keeps sending those messages to women in every way, from the family cookout to your ladies brunch, right? Just constantly talking about dating, constantly talking about the relationships. And it's like, we are people that have other interests outside of romance, right? But we don't necessarily even foster that amongst ourselves as women. And so a lot of the women that come and see me at Her Soul Supply have just been feeling stuck, right? They know that they're in a place where they're just sick of feeling stuck. They feel sick of feeling even maybe a little guilty about the fact that they're not like giving mom the grandkid, or feeling a bit of remorse from like that past situationship, which was toxic, wasn't helpful, was not the right fit. But then you start backtracking and thinking about, oh wow, like, is it my choices that I made that landed me here single in my 30s and my 40s and my 50s? A lot of the work that we're doing is helping women reframe that narrative, be able to tap into a mindset where they're able to feel unstuck and not their life is some kind of consolation prize, which is not. And so really getting them back in touch with themselves, learning skills around how to build the right community that is for them, and doing it together as single women. And so we can all kind of do that without feeling isolated, without feeling like whatever it is that you are working on in your personal development, is it your fault? But that you are actually navigating this amongst many other women and you're not alone.
How did you get started on this work, and how did Her Soul Supply come about?
Yes, my background is in clinical social work. I've been doing this work for many, many years, over a decade. honestly, this idea started from my private practice. So I had been working in community social work and as a therapist, working with Black and Brown women in many different capacities, hospitals, home, one-on-one therapy, and I had a private practice. So I actually still have my private practice. It's called Restority Space, and so there I'm a therapist for firstborn daughters, and we do a lot of work at the intersection of birth order and trauma. And so we do a lot of amazing work there. And so I've been doing that for a few years, and I noticed a pattern. I noticed that there were women coming into my practice who wanted therapy, and their problem that they wanted to address was, I'm single.
Problem, quote
Yeah,
unquote.
exactly. They were saying that I'm single, there's something wrong with me, I'm not happy, and all of these things. And for some of the women, there was underlying trauma stuff, and I did some really wonderful work with that women with those women. However, I definitely had an affinity in a way where I've been her. I've been in a place where I thought being single for a very long time was weird,
Mhm.
or not being able to keep a relationship was something like defective about me, right?
Or a moral failing.
Yeah, or a moral failing, right? And so I knew that even though I was working with some of these women, that they needed more than just like one-on-one therapy. They also needed community. They also needed to travel. They also needed to do things that force them to realize that the world is bigger than they think it is. Because that's what I did when I was feeling stuck and single and in pain and in heartbreak. And that completely changed my life to really use this singlehood era that I was going through as this gold mine of learning about myself and having this clean slate and really feeling like, yeah, the rug has been taken out from under me and I am starting from scratch, but also how do I build the right community so I don't feel like I'm keeping up with people or I don't, fall into traps of relationships that are really toxic and then end up in some other cycle of breakups or whether it's romantic or not. And so I really, really felt a passion for wanting to support them more, but I felt really limited by the medical model because a therapy practice is like a medical practice, right? So it's like there's a problem that is diagnosed, and then there's a treatment that aligns with an evidence-based treatment for that illness that you have. And so knowing that being single was not an illness,
Thank you.
right? Like
Can you say that louder for the people in the back, please? Please.
yeah, singlehood is not a problem that needs to be solved. I didn't want to diagnose these women, right? Like, I think there were some women that were coming in, and I'm like, listen, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind. You're not flawed. You're not cursed. And I knew just morally, ethically for myself, actually diagnosing them would make me a part of a long line of people in healthcare who have pathologized women for
Mhm.
actually not managing the status quo, right?
Oh,
Like I was
wow.
saying before, that everything was about, we're all raised in patriarchy, right? And so women and girls hold a very position in that patriarchy. And so when women are not on that relationship escalator or they're
Mhm.
not kind of doing what is expected when it's expected, you are the problem. And that's happened throughout history,
Mhm.
the history of time, where
Yes.
they used to call women hysterical, right? They used
Yep.
to give us lobotomies, right? Because we were like
Mhm.
depressed housewives. And they're like, I don't understand why you're depressed. You have everything you need. And it's like, besides a personhood and independence, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's just give you a lobotomy so that you just smile? So
I
I
have
think you could just,
everything except me.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I'm supposed to be okay with that. And
Yeah.
so you can just keep going back to women who were enslaved. You can go back to just female activists in any kind
Mhm.
of realm, right? They're always seen as the
Women burned at
problem.
the stake as witches.
Exactly, exactly. And so I just felt like, no, you know what? I think being a single woman basically over the age of 27, I feel like that's the magic number. After 27, it's not cute for you to like live your single girly life. And so I feel like any women older than 27 is just that new woman that's like, what's wrong with you? What do you
Mhm.
mean? Well, you shouldn't be happy because you clearly aren't complete. And so,
Ah, hate that.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So I
Mhm.
wanted to create a platform where okay, what are the things that I wish I could be doing in my therapy practice? The things that I've been wanting to teach in a very different way, like in terms of a curriculum, about not only ways of returning to yourself, but also ways of communicating, learning how to advocate for yourself, learning all of these skills around how to build good communication, good relationships, intimacy in these healthy ways, learning about yourself in that role, right? And then also, once you're feeling like you are yourself outside of partnership, you have community with you to do that. You can feel confident about building community and also going out in the world and continuing your life, right? Learning from women all around the world who are living their lives. And if romance is something that you want, that you know very clearly how you want that, and that you're
Mhm.
actually very sacred about what that relationship can be and who is allowed to be in that role for you, right? Because that is the place you want to be when you're engaging in trying to build community, including romance. Not in
Mhm.
a place of my clock is ticking, there's something wrong with me. I can't have another lonely Valentine's Day. I have to bring someone home for Christmas, right? Like all
Mhm.
of these things, I just don't think are a place in which you want to just kind of gamble with your life.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I just have to say, just like an umbrella amen to everything you just said, and I dare say probably everything you are going to say, because I swear it is like you are in my head and like you have just sat and looked at like a reel of my entire life, basically. I resonate so hard with everything that you just said. And I have a million questions, but I want to start with because there was something that you said that just kind of hit for me. You talked about firstborn daughters.
Mm.
Mhm.
I am a firstborn daughter. I have an idea of what, my life has been like and what expectations have been of me in my family and what expectations there are of other firstborn daughters in other families. But I would really love for you to talk about how those expectations come into play in like relationships, whether they're romantic or whatever, and just basically living your life and what it's like for a firstborn daughter to be single and not feeling sorry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a journey because honestly, firstborn
Yeah.
daughters are raised to just get
Mhm.
things done, be reliable, be
Mhm.
accountable. Most firstborn daughters and firstborn kids in general, or eldest daughters, are in leadership positions.
Mhm.
They kind of maintain very high standards for themselves. When that is something that becomes really rigid as you get older, it can make it really challenging to build trust with people, right? To really maintain a healthy love for yourself if things aren't maintained at a level that you expect of yourself, right? Perfectionism is like really, really, really problematic for firstborns. There's also a lot of kind of not taking as many risks and really doing things by the book, right?
Yeah.
We're very type A. We're very
Yeah.
type A
Uh-huh.
people. Oftentimes, when it comes to romance, right? I think that there isn't a lot of wiggle room, right? Um, and there are ways in which that's very healthy, where it's like, yes, you're allowed to have standards. And there are ways, kind of the other side of the coin, where it's like you can also very easily become an enabler if you have a partner that you have to take care of, because
Oh,
you will just
yeah.
take care of things instead.
Mhm.
You do it
Mhm.
better, you'll just take care of it, right? And then you end up in a caregiver role in your romantic relationships sometimes,
Mhm.
right? Which is not the job. Right? Like if
No.
the job is a romantic partner, it's not mom, it's not housekeeper, it's not,
Yeah.
caregiver, it's not all of these things. And so that's a trap that often a lot of single women fall into, and then they're burnt out, and then a lot of cynicism comes in, and then you can just lose the motivation to try to actually enjoy yourself while dating, because we want to take care of things, we want to solve problems.
Or to just not date.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. So all of that just completely makes sense to me. And the whole idea of the expectations that are on someone who is firstborn, especially an eldest daughter, like you're expected to be the one who is, you're expected to be the first one to get married. You're expected to be the one to have the kids. You're expected to be the one to, you know, uh, become the head of like the whole family. Like you're expected to be the next in line to be the matriarch or whatever, whether you want to be or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all these things that are expected to be part of that. Being married, having kids, doing that whole thing, being the nurturer and the caregiver and all that, which puts a lot of undue pressure on people, especially I think women, especially because we're raised in that, we're raised in those waters, right? This is the water we're swimming in, that we're supposed to grow up and find our Prince Charming and he's supposed to take care of us. And then we're, dot, dot, dot. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's key that you're addressing all of this in the work that you do. So
Yeah.
just for everybody, thank you. Thank you for addressing all of this.
Yeah.
I
My
want to,
pleasure.
don't mean to cut that short, but I want to talk about the myth of the man hating single woman.
Yeah, it really is a myth, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Kinda.
Kind of. I mean, kind of. I mean, everything comes from somewhere, but I think that the confusion is that you have a lot of women who are saying, "Okay, I am a busy person. I have other goals outside of romance, and so I'm going to focus on those things." And it kind of takes a certain level of confidence to do that because it
Mhm.
means that you are willing to just let time happen and let it be completely yours, right? And I think a lot of people or people who are really aligned with patriarchy, like men, will be like, what do you mean I'm not a part of that equation? Right. And
Mhm.
so it kind of becomes this thing of, well, if you're empowering this and there's no room for me here or in the way that I want to show up, then I guess you must hate me.
Mm,
Mhm.
mhm.
Right? There's no kind of recognition of like, well, sometimes people need to heal like alone without the actual trigger, right? Or heal amongst in affinity amongst people who understand exactly what that feels like. And because we're forced to live in a society that's super gendered, then it is a lot about like what women are going through, what men are going through, right? And so a lot of women do choose to heal amongst other women. That does not mean that you never will want to engage men. It doesn't mean that you don't want romance. It doesn't mean that you don't want to get married, right? I think the idea is like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. This is how I
Yes.
know to do it right.
Mhm.
I wish you agreed with me. This whole process would be easier. Right?
Exactly.
But you don't want to agree with me. You want to get on your podcast and talk about how we just want your money and why we don't act like women from our mother's generation. That's what you
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
so the cycle continues. And of course, we are the ones committing the crime. We're the ones that are in the wrong, even though we're actually inviting you to come in. You just don't want to rise to the occasion.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, they just don't wanna rise to the occasion. Like, do your own healing, damn it, and then
Yes.
figure out how to meet us where we are and where we wanna be.
If
Just
only.
Exactly.
yeah,
If
rise
only.
up. Right.
Like that's the ask. That's really at the end of the day. And I think when you speak to any single woman who wants to be married or one that doesn't, or one that wants kids, one that doesn't, it's kind of like we can all agree to that, right? Can we all
Mhm.
just agree that men are not okay
Mhm.
and we want them to heal so that they can be okay and we can actually coexist in a way that doesn't feel toxic or harming to us. That's the
Yes.
only ask. That's the
And
ask.
and and that it's not our job to heal them or fix them. They are adults. They can heal and fix themselves or find help to do so. That's not their romantic partner.
Mhm.
How about
Yeah.
that? How about that?
Your
That that would be nice.
That would be
yeah.
nice.
Your
So
girlfriend is not your therapist.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
So is the male loneliness epidemic real?
I do think it's real. I do think it's real because I see how it's happened. I see how technology has a lot to do with it. I can see how this has kind of been a slow burn. If you're not raising young boys to tap into empathy, to actually be in community in an equitable way with
Mhm.
everyone, not just men, if you teach them to talk about their feelings so that they can advocate for themselves in healthier ways, I don't think that men would have such a propensity to do very isolative practices, right?
Mhm.
There's also been a huge decrease in mentorship. Um,
Mm.
Men don't have role models for how to treat modern women. They don't. They don't know how to
Hmm.
actually treat modern women. It's not what their dads did, and it's not what their moms necessarily expected,
No,
Right.
right? So who's going to teach
And
them? I guess
it's not what
us.
their moms demanded.
no.
Exactly,
I know
exactly.
my
Like,
mom didn't. Bless her
yeah.
heart. My mom has never demanded that I've seen.
I mean, I don't
Mhm.
feel like they knew to demand that because they were even deeper into the patriarchy in a, well, not
Yeah.
deeper, but maybe in a different way than we are today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, different generation too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. And so I think that because we keep raising boys to value things in a very certain way in terms of your income level, the way that you behave, the way that you manage power, right?
Mhm.
We teach them a very certain way how to do that and how that looks masculine. And
Mhm.
then that's the mask that they have to learn to put on for the rest of their lives. And so if that becomes archaic, and we no longer respond to it as women, then yeah, they're kind of lost. No
Right.
one's teaching them, right?
And
And we're
it,
so mad that we just we're like, I no, I'm done. I'm done being the teacher, and so it's kind of like it is up to them. And now we're at kind of a place where like men just don't know how to cope, and
Mhm.
so yeah, they're lonely. They're just not doing anything about it.
and we're kind of at a standstill because we have women saying they want one thing, and then we have the country electing a man as president who embodies all of those things that, quite frankly, we don't want anything to do with.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
no.
feel they're so lost.
Well, can I
I know. Give it to us, Raquel. Give it to
no,
us.
I'm just going to go ahead and just voice the unpopular opinion. And this is probably going to get me a lot of like, I don't know, probably nasty comments, but and in fact, I was at a friend's party just last night and there were a few people like off to the side like having a conversation and I heard them I wasn't even part of this conversation but I heard them talking about the male loneliness epidemic and I literally of course just couldn't keep my mouth shut and I just turned over and I just go, yeah, I think it's bullshit. I don't believe in it. I think it's bullshit. I really, yeah. And just like in the middle of the party, and I was like, oh, sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. And then I got pulled into another conversation. And literally, yes, I do believe loneliness is a valid emotion. We all feel it, blah, blah, blah. But this is where I have very little, this is gonna sound wrong, but whatever the fuck, I don't care. I have very little empathy for the male loneliness epidemic because these are grown men.
Yeah.
They're expected to be like leaders of companies and heads of families and blah, 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 and all this. You know what? Read a book. The information is out there on how to not be lonely. I know people talk all the time about, oh, it's so hard to make friends after a certain age. Okay, yeah, that is a real thing for many people after a certain age. That's common. But you know what? The information is out there about how to make friends, how to be open to other friendships and relationships in your life. Join a team, join a club, open a book, whatever the fuck. I mean, there's so many ways to not be lonely and alone. Like, or go to a therapist. Like, there are so many. And so I mean, we've done it. Women have been doing this stuff for decades, but we're not having that same expectation of men. And that's where I'm like, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I- if women can find a way to not be lonely and to find community and to build community, so can men. So can
Mhm.
men. If we are to expecting them to be heads of state and leaders of companies and leaders of countries, guess what? They can learn how to make a friend. I
Mhm.
just have no sympathy around it. Sorry. That has
Yeah.
so that's a little bit off topic, but
I I totally agree with you, right? I agree with you 100%. The reason why I think it's something that is worth validating, not in the sense of I need to cut men a break because they're lonely. Like I
yeah.
don't think that's the message I extract here, which I know is a message a lot of other people extract. And that's unfortunate. But I do think about how do these things play out,
Mm.
right? Like I'm a mom, I got a 5-year-old girl, right? If she chooses to have a romantic relationship with a man, right? I care about the mental health of these boys, right?
Oh,
Are
sure.
they gonna
Yeah.
consent? Are they gonna learn right? Can they be kin keepers the way that women are in families, keeping people together and maintaining family units, right? Like I'm I'm hopeful of the idea that they can. So I'm gonna keep encouraging them to deal with their stuff. I think what I think about when I think about the male loneliness epidemic is this idea that we have a lot to go. Like
Yeah.
they're so paralyzed by the idea of doing all those things you said,
Mhm.
right? That they don't even know where to start. And they don't have a male figure being like, this is where you start,
Totally.
right? Like I think you see those in maybe very small communities
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
God bless them, right? And I feel like I wish I even had that capacity. I'm like, okay, well, if you pay me, I'll teach you. I'll teach you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But first, I want to take care of my ladies and then I'll come and teach you. Right. Because I do think ultimately the ultimate goal is to create healthier relationships and communities as a whole.
Yeah.
And I would like the door to stay open for men to come in. And
Sure.
where do we lead them to water? Because if we don't lead them to the water, they're going to continue to like hate. They're going to find
Yeah.
more reasons to maintain the patriarchy because that's what they see as their option. So I feel
Okay.
like the good of everybody, we should just be like, just there's that lake over there with lots of fresh water and minerals. And I want you to go over there and get strong and then come back and we'll play.
Okay, see, then that's why you are here, Fanny, and it's not just me being here because I'd be like, "Fuck it," you
Yeah,
know?
and you also have every right to not have to be that person, right? I would
Yeah.
love, and that's why I love that the work that I'm doing is also so connected to my roots in social work and psychotherapy because a lot of the work that I do at Her Soul Supply, I'm referring to my colleagues. I'm saying, you're the attachment specialist. Let's have a conversation about attachment and how that might come up for single women and how that connects to their sense of loneliness and
Mhm.
doing all of those things because that's also language we don't know as women, right?
Right.
And I think I would love to be able to grow this to the point where I have a male counterpart that can actually be inspirational to men saying the same thing,
That'd be
Mhm.
right?
great. That'd be
So that
so
Mhm.
we could all
great.
have a conversation one day, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be your job, Raquel, right? Like that's somebody else's job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your single, empowered, and free masterclass for women of color was for those who are done performing for the patriarchy, as written on Instagram. What does performing for the patriarchy mean?
It means being small. It means really submitting yourself to relationship on his terms,
Oh,
Mm.
I don't like
right?
it.
Yeah, like it's this idea of okay, in order to be partnered, you have to submit to a lifestyle that is not about equal partnership,
I
even
have
if it's
felt that.
unspoken, right?
Mhm.
I have felt that.
Yeah,
Yep. Same.
yeah.
Same.
And in my relationship, I have a husband. We've done a lot of work together around okay, we both know that patriarchy is BS. we both know that gender norms are BS, right? We also know we have a very untraditional life as far as gender is concerned in our relationship, but we still will have these expectations of each other that do really come from gender. So we have to really
Mm,
argue against, like, we have to actively work against these expectations in order for us to actually walk the walk,
Mhm.
right? And so when you have couples that don't even talk about that,
oh yeah.
right? Then it just becomes the tradition, and the tradition
Mhm.
lives on. And it always is the woman who tends to be the one being who has to be outsourced. All of the needs of a family, all the human needs that we have, childcare, making
Yep.
sure food's on the table so we can be healthy,
Mhm.
planning
Cleaning the
gatherings
house.
with community, cleaning the house, all of the problems of society, all the problems of community are outsourced to women.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
we wonder why she doesn't want to keep up her appearances in this way,
She's
or she's
tired.
tired,
Right?
or why she doesn't want to have more kids. Why doesn't she want to have kids at all? What do you mean she doesn't want to get married? So, I think we can just recognize that we don't always see the ways in which we give up our freedom.
Mhm.
And because we don't always have the language, we don't advocate for those things early on in our relationships, in our
Yeah.
friendships, in our romantic relationships, in our familial relationships. And
I
then we
total
just continue to be that person in the family.
I
Right.
totally agree. I feel like in the past I have not only given it up, I've like handed it over as a gift.
Mhm.
Like, here you go,
Mhm.
I'll do that. I didn't even realize I was doing that.
Mhm. Well,
Mhm.
because well, at least in situations that I've been in, you think you're just you're being a nice person, or you're like, it's okay, I got it, I've got time today, I'll do it, or I don't mind. But then it kind of it's that slippery slope. It just slides into, now this is your job forever, you
It
know?
seems so gendered though, too. Like
Mhm.
you start, I don't know about you too, but I start dating someone and suddenly I'm doing a little more cooking and suddenly I'm doing a little more laundry and suddenly I'm picking up at his place instead. And it's like, wait a sec, why am I doing this?
Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
and even if I were in that wife status, I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be doing it in either status. So it's interesting how easy it is to slide into that well woven groove.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Can I share a funny story, a little personal story?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my husband and I have been together for 15 years. And
That's
so,
impressive.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah. And so when we first moved in together, we moved in together like after 3, 4 years of our relationship. And I was working in a hospital, like a public hospital, doing psychiatric emergency care. And I would travel a lot. It was in Queens. I lived in Brooklyn. And my husband is in film and TV. And he worked very early hours and would come home early, right? And I worked like till 8. And so when we started getting into our groove and I would come home, he would be home all afternoon. And I'd get home at like 7 and he'd be like, "What do you want to do about dinner?" And I was like, "I don't know. What do you want to do about dinner?" He's like, "I don't know. I was going to wait to see what you like since you like certain things." And I was like, "So you've been home for several hours. I come home. So I guess we're going to have dinner at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, because I have to now think about what we're going to eat, look at what's in
Yep.
the fridge, figure out if we have to go out and get food, and then make the food after I've had an entire long day of work. And then I have what, a half an hour to myself before I have to go to bed and do it all over again.
Yep.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And so I had like I had to nip it in the bud. I was like, listen, you're a feminist. You
So
don't
glad.
believe that I should be doing more work than you in anything, including housework. So why would you defer to me about something that could just be done by the time I get home? And just really having to confront him on the idea of like, this is how you're playing out patriarchy. Because I know you're thinking of it as, oh, I want to just defer to whatever she would like to do. And that's his way of being like, I want to make space for my partner. But I
Yeah.
was kind of telling him like, yeah, but you not making choices means that I have to make the choices.
Yep.
And so you have to just start making choices so that we have equal amounts of choices. Instead,
Yes.
you are outsourcing the choices to me when you actually have more time than I do to make things like flow like a well-oiled machine. And that is a conversation we have to do with every big stage in our lives, right? And he's got it, but I think it's the kind of thing where we've had to be really conscious of how it shows up or the habits that we have, or it will just default to me. You hear this a lot with first time moms, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like, I thought I married a woke bae, and now here I am. He's never around the child alone. The child won't do anything without me now, and now I'm just only a mom, right? But he
Yeah,
gets to go out, for his happy hour at work, and he gets to maintain his friendships. But this kid can't hang out with their dad, so I'm just gonna be here with the baby, and now my identity is this baby, right? And so it's
right.
like couples have to actually actively work on how can I empower you as my partner to be in a more domesticated role, to develop that relationship with our kids so that they're going to be fine with you even if it's your style, right? So that I can go out with my friends and I can go do my networking things and do this big thing for my career that I really want, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so you have to actively keep having those conversations, and people don't have those conversations, they just have expectations.
Okay. I love that you and your husband had that conversation, and I specifically love that you initiated that conversation and you're like, "Okay, look. This this is the conversation. Love you. Love what you think you're doing, but this is the reality of how this is really shaping up." And I'm single, love my life. I'm not chasing after a romantic relationship. Uh, but one day, yeah, sure. If it happens, if some, uh, evolved man comes into my life and adds to my happiness and does not detract from my peace, then I will entertain allowing him to be part of my life. But I am also scared shitless because I've been the person in the relationship who's like what Jennifer was talking about, and we were just talking about a second ago. Like, I'll start doing something because I'm like, I don't mind. I'm just being nice. Whatever. It's okay. I don't, whatever. And then it becomes my job for the rest of my damn life or for the rest of that damn relationship. And then I'm like, what the hell happened? What? I am more than just your de facto mother. The fuck? So can you I know, sorry. I get a little passionate
That's
about
why I
stuff.
love you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I know in your, on your website you talk about how you help women to love life being single, blah blah blah. But what if you want to be in a relationship again one day? Can you talk about like you can how you can make that transition? Because I honestly am like, yeah, I don't ever see how it's going to be possible for me to be in a relationship again and not just completely lose myself.
Mm. So the question is, how do you make the transition from just being completely averse to the idea of dating to
No,
wanting romance again?
not really averse, just like not chasing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not treating finding a mate as like my second job. Like,
Yeah.
if it happens, great, but I got a lot of other stuff going on in my life that's just as entertaining. So it's not like I'm filling a void in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
if romance somehow enters my life, then I'd like to know that there's a way to enter into a romantic relationship and
You.
maintain me and maintain my independence the way that I
Mm-hmm.
love and maintain my independence outside of a romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of women struggle with that, right? I think when I speak to women, especially women who have gone through breakups, who feel really lonely, a lot of times they feel really estranged from their friends because they were in
Mm,
a relationship that really isolated them. but whether it was by choice or by, for other reasons, something that I'll say to those women is like, just hit up your friend, tell them that you're in not a great place, and sorry for ghosting. Sorry for disappearing. Sorry for not tapping into this part of me that you nurture and I want to reconnect, right? I feel like that's all your friends want to hear.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but I think just your original question of, how do I kind of make this room for something without having
Yeah.
to chase it, right? I
Mhm.
think it's doing the things that you like to do, right? Like
Mm.
like you can still meet someone romantically in real life,
Mhm.
right? But you have to be outside.
Well, yeah.
And right? And that's something different for everybody, right? Being outside can be, I like dancing, so I go to places where I can dance. Um, I like to dress up. I like going to places where I can dress up. But for a lot of people, it's also like I go to a pottery studio now, or I'm
Mhm.
part of this producer circle for this movie theater in my area, and I get to engage in art and have talks about film. I belong to my local museum and I go to all of their social events because that's what I like. And you're more likely to be yourself in those spaces and be around people that you might not know. That's
Mhm.
already the recipe you need to meet somebody new, right?
Right.
That's literally what all of the algorithms on these dating apps are simulating. A moment for you to be in a room with someone and lock eyes,
Yeah.
right? And so to be doing that in the context of something you already enjoy, that's like filling one cup, then it makes it a lot easier to like overflow that into a new cup,
Mm.
right? But I think
Mhm.
that people have this very narrow idea of what dating's supposed to be because of apps, because of kind of the expectation of how women are supposed to show up in dating. Right?
Mm.
And so it
Mhm.
creates this
Mhm.
barrier of like, okay, I have to dress up. Well, if you don't like to dress up, then I don't think you should be doing things that make you feel like you have to dress up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you like sports, right, or you want to do a sports league, like you can meet somebody sweaty in your sports league or some run
Exactly.
club. Who cares? You don't have, but I think that the more women push against the expectations of patriarchy and anything that they do, the more they'll realize that most of these things don't have to be a heavy lift, right?
Love it.
And
Okay.
that you're more likely to really find these things organically if you really just lean in on you and just be open to things while you're out doing you.
Mhm. I love that. I love
Fanny,
that.
was there anything you wanted to tell our audience that we didn't give you the chance to?
Oh my goodness. I feel like I could talk about this stuff for hours.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that, for anybody who's listening, if, this really resonates, I think that her soul supply is really that soft place to land when you're feeling like you don't know where to go and you're looking to be able to talk more about these things, understand more about yourself, and really create a curated environment of people who actually see you and want you to be you, right? That's what we're trying to do at Her Soul Supply. And I usually start with my live workshop, the masterclass that you mentioned earlier, Jennifer, Single, Empowered, and Free, where I go deeper into all of these different systems, not just patriarchy, but all the things around it as well that keep women feeling stuck or like they're not good enough. And so that tends to be kind of the first stop in understanding and creating that blueprint that you can see for yourself for the life that you really want.
And I actually just have a question. So, Fanny, how often do you do that master class?
So I actually right now I'm doing it monthly. It's usually
Mm.
a Sunday or Monday night at the end of the month. So the
Okay.
next one that I have going on is July 28th. And so the
Okay.
idea is that I'm going to be doing them live monthly. So they're not pre-recorded. It's very engaging, right? We're
Okay.
all sharing in real time. We're journaling in real time. We're learning in real time. And so I really encourage folks to come when they're ready.
And this
Awesome.
podcast will be out July 31st. So it'll be the next one,
Yes.
August, end
Yeah.
of August.
Yeah, so the next one will be August 25th.
August
Awesome.
25th it is.
Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, people sign up for that masterclass. I just, being totally transparent, have signed up for your July masterclass. So,
Oh, yeah,
I'm excited.
Michelle,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
exciting.
I'm very excited
Yeah,
for
I
it.
can't wait to hear about it.
So yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
cool.
awesome. But yeah, so I fully sign on for anybody to sign up for your masterclass, Fanny. So for people who are listening to this after the July one, sign up for the August one or the September one or the October one or whatever. When you are ready, sign up because this is Fanny, you're doing important work.
Very
It
important
there
work.
are there's we I think we all know amazing, vibrant, talented, beautiful women who are single and they feel like something's wrong with them, and that that just sucks. They shouldn't feel that they are lacking or that there's something wrong with them just because they don't have a romantic partner. And so, Fanny, you're doing some amazing work. So, thank you. Thank you for helping other women to realize that being single is not a flaw.
Nope.
It's not a failing at all. Thank you, Fanny.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Are you ready to recap, my friend? I'm so excited you're
I
going to the workshop.
I am too. I am too. I, was doing all the research preparing for today and I saw that and I was like, click.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
like,
so
sign up for
glad.
that. I mean, it just because we've both heard it from other people, like, oh, you're single. Oh,
Mhm.
like that helped it.
You poor girl.
Oh,
I'm sorry
you'll
I'm sorry
find
no one
somebody.
picked you.
Right. Like, oh, but you're so pretty and you're so this. Why
Why
are
are
you
you
still
single?
single? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with so I just, or, like women that I know who are single and they're like, wah, wah. And I'm like, oh my God, look at your life. Your life is amazing. What do you mean? Wah, wah?
I mean, but I think yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. We are programmed from birth
Mm-hmm.
to think that we are all supposed to couple up, even
Yeah.
if we have this yearning inside of us that tells us that we don't want that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I mean, and I've talked about how, you know, same thing. I was raised the same way to think, okay, even though my mom is divorced, I still was like, oh, but I want to get married.
It's in
Marriage is what you're
everything.
supposed to want. Blah 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 blah. And for
Every fairy tale that we watch.
absolutely every rom-com, every fairy tale,
Yeah.
everything. And honestly, it for the longest time, I thought I was broken. I've said this before on the show. I thought it was something wrong with me.
No, it
That
turns out
I
men are
hadn't.
broken.
Exactly. But
Surprise.
definitely the ones that I was dating.
No, I don't,
Uh,
I just say that in jest, but
well, sure, but and I am being totally serious. Yes, the guys that I dated, yeah, they could benefit from some therapy. They could benefit from having, you know, more friendships. They could benefit from having more community. They could benefit from some self-reflection.
of course.
And so it took so long for me to get to the point where I'm like, you know what? My life is pretty good. I like my life. I'm surrounded by amazing friends. I've got a great job. I have a roof over my head. I'm safe. Like all of these things. And thankfully, because of the work that Fanny's doing, hopefully there are fewer women who will take as long as I did to get to that point.
Yeah. And I used to think of the man as I used to think all the same, that I have all these things that I love, love, love about my life. And wouldn't the man just be the icing on the cake?
Right.
Right. But now I'm like, I think I want my cake icing free.
Or maybe the icing maybe the icing isn't the guy. Maybe icing is something else. Maybe
Yeah.
icing is I can go travel more. Or maybe icing is I don't have to compromise shit.
I mean, that relationships take work.
Yeah.
And not just romantic ones, our work
Mhm.
relationships, our friendships, etc. They take a certain amount of commitment to that relationship.
Mhm.
And I've just recently realized that I don't actually want to do that work. The benefit that I get from it doesn't seem worth the effort
Mhm.
I need to put in. I would rather do other things with my time. I
Right.
wish we had so much time to talk to her because
Oh, I know.
she had this one post on her Instagram that said, "Don't confuse awareness for actual change. Just because someone knows better doesn't mean they'll do better." I
Yep.
know a lot of men who've been like reading a little bit, learning a little bit, but awareness isn't actual change. This is a big
Mhm.
one for me
Mhm.
because I can so believe in people and they don't actually change.
Yeah, 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 but just seeing the potential in somebody isn't enough.
Yeah.
They need to act on that potential and just go ahead and just, rise up to it and live into that potential and, then I'll be on board.
She talks about taking your body off the table for debate. Like our bodies are
Mm,
not up for debate for people to decide if they're worthy or not.
yeah. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time thinking I wasn't in a relationship because my body was flawed. I'm too
Oh, yeah.
fat. I'm too short. My legs aren't long enough. I'm too fat. I'm not athletic enough. I don't know. I could just add, um,
Girl. Yeah, same.
like I just I don't fit the profile of what a man wants. Turns out that's not true. They'll basically have sex with just about anybody. But I am really man bashing today.
Girl, you know what? But honestly, there are some men that literally, yeah, that holds true. We all know.
She also said avoiding the fixer role in a relationship. Dude, I fall into that one over and over and over
Girl,
again.
same.
And there was a quote on here on her website that says, "I wasn't miserable because I was single. I was miserable because I kept shrinking to be chosen."
Mhm.
Damn if
Yeah.
that isn't it right there
Mhm.
in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
Yeah, there's another quote from Fanny's website. Um, "Your singlehood isn't a burden, a flaw, or something to fix. It's a season of expansion, joy, and possibility. Live
Love
into
that.
your singleness. Like, just
Love that.
revel in it, enjoy it. It's not something to be fixed.
No, and don't
Live your life, man.
no, all the people who are like waiting to live till they're coupled or waiting to live until they lose 20 pounds
Yeah.
or waiting to live until they finish school or waiting to live. Like we're actually breathing and living right now.
Yep. Yep. We don't have to wait for a romantic partner to travel or to try whatever new restaurant or to have whatever experience. I mean,
I'll meet you at any restaurant you want to go to.
there you go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I just think it's so important the work that Fanny is doing.
The work is so good.
And I love it. And I love that Fanny is doing this from a place of you don't need to be fixed. Enjoy your life. Lean into it. Love it. And then, if you want to be in a relationship, okay, enjoy that too. But still enjoy who you are. Don't shrink yourself for somebody who can't or doesn't want to experience you in all of your fullness.
Yeah,
Damn, that's good. That's good stuff, man.
it sure is.
Damn.
Thanks, Raquel.
Love it. Thanks, Jennifer.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend.
Or you could leave us a comment and a 5-star review or email us at madnesscafepodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks, everybody.